From Peoria, the heart of Illinois, VideoMax Limited, in association with Bradley TV, presents Midstate Magazine, with your hosts, Michelle Miller and Ron Glick. News anchors, Jeff Norcross and Greta Funk. City Beat with Phil McCraven. Our musical director is John Kowalski. And the Midstate sports team of Pat Krull, Marty Hutloff, and Brian Madden. Now from the campus of Bradley University in America's friendliest city, your hosts, Ron Glick and Michelle Miller.
Welcome to Midstate Magazine. Do you know what exciting stuff is happening in Central Illinois?
Well, I've heard that the zoo's been getting a bad rap.
Well, no, not exactly, but Phil McCraven's going to take us on a safari with City Beat.
Let me think. What else exciting? Gosh, Central Illinois? Like how tall the corn grew this year?
No, not quite. But Midstate Magazine's music department has a lot in store today.
And as always, news and sports.
So let's go to the news desk.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Midstate Magazine News. I'm Jeff Norcross.
And I'm Greta Funk. Peoria recently had an art convention at the Civic Center, a body art convention that is. 40 tattoo artists from around the country gathered in Peoria for the 1992 tattoo extravaganza. Some of the artists were busy working tattooing visitors, while others were designing personalized tattoos, and others were selling tattoos that aren't so permanent. One of the big issues nowadays is that tattoos and AIDS. Although there is no license required to give tattoos, many artists sterilize their needles, use new ink each time, and as a precaution, wear rubber gloves.
During lunchtime in downtown Peoria, the streets can be seen filled with pushcart vendors trying to sell you a meal. This has become somewhat of a tradition over the last few years. However, some area restaurants are trying to push the carts away for good. Midstate Magazine's Beth Stiebel has more.
Push carts have long been a sign that it is lunchtime in downtown Peoria. Vendors from area restaurants come day in and day out, weather permitting, to provide people with a good meal at reasonable prices.
It slows down in the fall when it's around 60, but in the spring, 60 feels pretty warm.
This noontime ritual could soon be a thing of the past. The city of Peoria and some area restaurants are trying to get the vendors to go back inside and clear the sidewalks. This has not only the vendors in an uproar, but some of the regular customers as well.
The reason why we've come out here, we were just talking about this, is because you can't get into the restaurants and get in and out in half an hour. They just don't provide the service that a push cart can.
Many people have already signed petitions trying to keep the carts in Courthouse Square. Do the vendors think the city will get its way? There are some mixed feelings.
The city of Peoria has been trying to get rid of the vendors for a long, long time. There's some councilmen that would love to get rid of the vendors. They tried 3 years ago. They tried to get rid of the vendors. They get pressure from some of the restaurants downtown. The only thing we've really got going for us is the public. They're 95% behind us.
Well, the restaurants, you know, we've been out here for like 8 years, and I don't know what. If they wanted any part of this, you know, they should have been out here a long time ago. And, you know, that's what I feel about it.
A longtime tradition in Peoria may soon be ending if the city gets its way. Area restaurants and the city council are trying to get rid of the push carts, and if their proposal comes about, the push cart may be closing down for good. For Midstate Magazine, I'm Beth Stiebel reporting.
We've all been given the advice, why don't you sleep on it? But better advice might be, why don't you dream on it? A recent study by Israel's Weizmann Institute of Science indicates that dreaming plays an important role in helping people memorize new skills. The study also said dreaming can aid in certain kinds of problems, such as solving problems. Researchers found that when people were disturbed during sleep, they were less likely to forget skills they had learned previously. But things are best learned if they are taught right before sleep occurs. Researchers aren't sure why this happens. Many think sleep is a time for the brain to collect itself after a long day of thinking.
Finally tonight, would you lie or cheat in order to hang on to your job? Well, students show that many students would do just that, only to even get a job. In a recent survey of almost 7,000 high school and college-age students, 61% of the high schoolers and 32% of the college students admitted to cheating on an exam at least one time. Over 30% of each group said that they would not object to lying on their resume in order to get a job, and over 20% would lie on their reports in order to even keep their jobs at all. Experts suggest that this behavior is not abnormal. Students merely mimic what their peers are doing. Well, I can tell you truthfully that Greta and I are both students, and we are very honest, and I'm telling you that we have not lied once in order to get where we are right now on Midstate Magazine, right?
That's right, Jeff.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, that's it for the news. Thanks for joining us.
Back to Ron and Michelle.
Thanks, guys.
Are we having fun yet?
We sure are. So, that was great. Do you always sleep in class?
Well, yeah, in a matter of fact, I do. But I always knew that sleep was most important.
Well, when we return, we're going to head over and listen to City Beat. Stay tuned. Animal Cracker song. Oh, never mind. Phil's going to take us on a safari.
Let's go to Phil.
Thank you, Ron and Michelle. Joining me in the studio today is the manager of the Glen Oak Zoo, Jan Schweitzer. Thanks for joining me today, Jan.
You're more than welcome.
The first subject I'd like to talk about may be a sore point, but I'd like to get it out of the way. A couple of years ago, Parade Magazine named, unfortunately, your zoo, the Glen Oak Zoo, as one of the top 10 worst zoos in the country. I was wondering what type of effect did that have on the zoo, and what positive changes have taken place as a result?
Well, actually, we don't look at it as a bad thing. We like to look at it as lemons being turned into lemonade. And think of the positive things in the future. At the time, just to let you know, the survey really didn't mention what it was or why it was that we got on the list, and nobody actually came to visit us. When the actual author did come, when we invited him, he wrote us a fairly good article after that. But we've made lots of changes since then, and they're ongoing changes that we've done for years now. We did build a new lion display, which was probably one of the biggest controversies at the time, because the zoo was an older facility built back in the 1950s, and it still has the barred cages. Doesn't mean the animals aren't being well cared for, but you know, the people don't like the image of the bars. So we do have a brand new lion facility that we open. We're always adding some new displays, new animals, putting in new programming. So it's always a new experience for the family to come and see.
Okay. As far as educational programs, what type of program do you have, or programs do you have for children?
Oh. Well, actually, education is probably one of our biggest things that we're into. We really think it's important to get to the young minds now so that they grow up with an appreciation for animals and the environment and conservation issues. So all of our programs are centered around conservation themes. On site, we do a number of programs in the summer with a free flight bird program, where somebody looks them up and the animals go across and land, and then we talk about birds of prey and conservation issues. Our educator, who's really very good, Mike Cargill, does some magic tricks involved with it that talks about disappearing wilds of the world. Then we do our other normal programs, which are like we call one called the Zoo for You program. It's kind of a guided tour, but it involves the conservation issues also. But we do them on site. We also do them off site. We go and do a number of programming at like Rotary clubs, Kiwanis, whatever. We just do a little bit of everything.
Do you ever take the animals into the schools, or?
We do take a limited number of animals. We're trying to suggest to people that animals are not pets, so we try not to take any of the more exotic ones, because we want them to come to the zoo and appreciate them there. But yeah, there is a limited number of animals that we do take out that the kids can actually touch and feel, because we think that's a real good way for them to learn.
Okay. As far as tell me about the Friends of the Glen Oak Zoo.
Well, the Friends of the Glen Oak Zoo was an organization formed to basically help us with fundraising to do different programs. Since their inception in 1976, we've built a lot of new displays like the sea lion pool, the lion exhibit, the zebra exhibit. Originally, they started off with the bald eagle exhibit, which has now changed into a colobus monkey area. But I mean, so, see, we're always making changes, and they continue to do different kind of studies to find out what the community really is looking for, and that's what they're looking into now.
And is that related to the Adopt an Animal program, or?
Well, it's actually two different groups, but the Adopt an Animal, anybody that's, wants to, can adopt an animal at the zoo, and for that to be a zoo parent, you pay a certain fee. That fee helps feed the animal for the year, and in return you get this little package that talks about your special animal. You get a little plaque at the zoo that recognizes you, and then you get to come and see your animal too, and tell everybody, this is, I'm this monkey's uncle or whatever.
Okay, we only have a short time left. What is it the zoo open year-round?
The zoo is open year-round, every day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and then in the summertime we extend our hours till 8 p.m. in the evening. The only days we're actually closed are Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day.
And admission charges?
Admission is $3 for adults, $1 for children 4 through 12, and anybody 3 and under gets in free.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for joining me today,
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Now back to Ron and Michelle.
The zoo really has a lot of special programs to offer kids and their parents these days.
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. Yo, ho, ho, and a bottle of rum.
What are you doing?
That's a sea shanty.
Can you say that 7 times?
Sea shanty.
Sea shanty?
No, but do you want some more?
No, thanks.
No, I mean from a real shantyman, way down east in Maine. Recently, our executive producer, Bob Jacobs, was there, and he visited and found a real shantyman, Bill Bunyan.
Rolling home across the sea, rolling home to dear New England, rolling home, dear land to thee. Twice 5,000 miles behind.
100 years ago and more, iron men rowed wooden ships like this one down east to the coast of Maine. The lore of those ships remains in our romantic hearts, kept alive by men like Bill Bunyan.
Twice 5,000 miles behind us, twice 5,000 miles before. Now we're passing St. Helena, headed for New England shore.
Bill is a shantyman. He sings songs of the sea and of the men who rode the wind.
They flow, there's a hearty welcome waiting in the land to which you go. Rolling home, rolling home, rolling home across the sea.
A living history himself, Bill Bunyan keeps the past alive wherever he goes, as here at the Penobscot Marine Museum.
Every old sailor I ever interviewed said the same thing, good song can be worth 10 men. And there was the opportunity to blow off their steam, you know. If you're mad at the captain, who do you think's the skipper of her? Blow, boys, blow. Why, Bully Hayes, that devil's drover. Blow, my bully boys, blow. Captain Hayes looks off in the distance, puffs on a cigar. He hears the insult. The job's getting done, that's okay. But don't say it. You'll end up with a throat full of teeth.
At an age when most men have been retired for a couple of decades, Bill Bunyan still sings. He hopes people will listen and love the sea as he does. Sometimes it's frustrating. Bill remains hopeful about the environment and our ability to save it.
Oh, very optimistic. If we can save the world, if we don't just destroy all the waters. And you think of how Maine has resisted oil all this time. The number of times that the big corporations have tried to get terminals and manufacture the oil and everything. We're all up and down this coast. and the people have always voted against it. It tells you something about the Maine people.
The sea, it endures almost in spite of us. We can learn from it, of course, if we'll listen to its history, to its poetry, to the gift of life it gives when we respect it, and the disasters we get when we don't. And today, it sings to us, the beautiful, enduring voice of Bill Bunyan. In Searsport, Bob Jacobs, News Center.
When we return, we'll head to the locker room where we'll take a few laps around the racetrack.
You won't want to miss it.
that great now, but going cross-country towards the Rockies, such as Utah and Colorado, where people who are skiing now are more interested in mountain biking because of the rough, rugged sport that it is.
Now, how much would it cost for somebody like myself who'd want to get involved in mountain biking for the bike and the equipment and something like that?
Well, for the beginner, it would cost you somewhere between $200 and $400. But as you get on in the sport and you get more into it, it takes the person less money to pay for repairs and other equipment.
And a word of warning to all of you who have never mountain biked before, the first time that you mountain bike, be aware that the next day what some people call your better side will be hurting. Back to you, Ron and Michelle.
Thanks, guys.
You know, Richard Petty sure accomplished a lot in his career.
All I know is I sure would not want to drive that fast. I like 70.
Well, maybe it's the way you drive. I would love to race cars.
That's very funny. I think you have a death wish.
Well, I do wish we had more time, but that about does it for this edition of Midstate Magazine.
Be sure to join us next time when Arts and Doings reporter Lisa Donovan takes a look at the Apollo Theater in downtown Peoria.
And as always, news and sports.
And we leave you now with some music produced and directed by our very own John Kowalski. He and his friend Ken Brown warm us up with this little Caribbean mood. Say goodbye, Ron.
That's the name of the song?
No.
Well, what's the name of the song?
Just say goodbye.
It's a funny name for a song.
Bye, guys. See you
Bye.
next time. Just